Hey guys, what's going on? It's Salvage here, and today we're going to be talking about Batman and Gotham Knights again, and will he be playable to some extent? Now, I know a lot of people are really kind of confused about the whole Arkham and, Batman timeline, but Batman's apparently dead in this game. I will believe WB Montreal until otherwise is shown, but what I am going to say is that I believe he will be somewhat playable in the game, at least in the first few minutes of the game, because honestly, we don't really know what the first few minutes of this game might look like. IGN and WB Montreal tricked everybody. Everybody's going to be looking at that, quote, first 16 minutes of gameplay or whatever. It's not really like the first 16 minutes of the game. It's just the first 60 minutes of like the way you play Gotham Knights, or the way you're going to be playing Gotham Knights for most of the game, which is, picking your character and then going out there and fighting. But I think that there's going to be that intro, and that intro is most likely going to be Batman, because just recently we got to see the Batman model in game, and we get to hear his voice in dialogue multiple times with different voice options for different characters for the training modules. So that's fairly interesting, and I personally think that that's going to be somewhat of a plot device that's going to be used in this game. Now, before we also continue the video, if you could subscribe, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate it. We are almost at 50,000 subscribers. I just need 3,000 more, and that's really not a lot in the grand scheme of things, so I'd really appreciate if you guys can support if you enjoy the video. So I think that training module is going to be a huge part in the game, and I also think that it's going to tie back to the beginning of the game where we actually get to play as Batman, because I think that would be an amazing hook. If you get to play as Batman for like the first 15 minutes of the game, you're investigating some Court of Owls stuff, or maybe you're doing some other stuff. We have been getting hints at like the Court of Owls and stuff like that. Like, I'm sorry, the League of Assassins, they have been hinted at before in the marketing with the Devil's Head and whatnot. So I personally think that they will be in the game in some degree, and I think that that would be a very interesting thing for Bruce to investigate in the beginning of the game, potentially leading to his death. So, it's either the Court of Owls or the League of Assassins that kill him, but somebody's going to be killing him, and I think that's going to be shown at the beginning of the game, and I hope that when they showed it at the beginning of the game, that they actually let us play as Batman before he dies. I think that would be a great hook. It would be a great way to pull players in, and also show how Bruce Wayne dies and have it be emotional, and really cement the fact that he's dead, because not a lot of people believe that. So if they see Bruce Wayne / Batman get axed in the first 15 minutes of the game while we're playing him, and there's no restart button, people are going to get the message. People are going to understand. But this leads me to my other point, is that now they're in such a weird box where it's like they have to keep Bruce Wayne dead, or what they said is a complete lie. It's either they keep him dead, or somehow they bring him back, which I think a lot of people are going to assume is going to happen. Like, either the court is somehow manipulating Bruce Wayne to be either like, member, or Bruce Wayne is somehow revived in some way, shape, or form. My theory was that he gets revived sometime in the Lazarus Pit, or maybe he's fighting against the League of Assassins in the Court of Owls by kind of going undercover and faking his death, which could be an interesting way to do it. But I think most people would assume that in some way, shape, or form, Batman's going to be coming back in a Batman-centric story where, quote-unquote, his presence is felt. Like, we have to see that, and we have to feel that. And I think that his presence is not only going to be felt, it's going to be seen, and actually he's going to be appearing in the game in some way, shape, or form, which, again, leads me to believe that a lot of people might get angry at that topic. A lot of people might get angry at the fact that Bruce Wayne might be coming back, and that he might be in some way, shape, or form used as a plot device to further the game. And if that's the case, I think a lot of people would actually be kind of upset and call this story predictable and call it kind of lazy writing in some ways, because, it is kind of predictable that Bruce Wayne would come back in some way, shape, or form. It is kind of like that, but it kind of does depend on the execution. I am fairly concerned about the way the story has been presented so far. Like, I'm really interested and excited to play as all four knights throughout the story. Like, that's something I can't wait to do, because that's something that, like, as a kid, I was like, man, that would be so fun if we could play these characters and have different dialogue options and whatnot. Of course, we're not getting the options, but we're getting different dialogue, and I think that's fairly interesting, and I think that's really fun. So I like that aspect, but when you really dig deep into the story and the way they're presenting their cutscenes and the writing is the main aspect that I am worried about here. And there's a lot of key moments in the writing that we've seen already, a lot of aspects in the writing that I don't like and I can't take serious in many ways. So if the game is going to try to take itself serious with that type of writing, it's going to fall flat. And I hope that a lot of people understand that when I'm coming at this with a voice of concern, I'm not coming at it with a voice of hate. Like, there are moments within the dialogue that just look bad, and I don't know why that would be so hard to understand. It's a big aspect of what makes or breaks this game, and I think the story is what makes or breaks this game. If the story's not good, like, we already know what the combat is kind of going to be based off of, like, at least 50 people playing this game for about 3 hours, right? We got so many people playing this game, and we already know so much about the combat that there's not really much surprises left for the combat, realistically. Like, we already know everything that's going to be unlockable. We already know most of the skins and how they're going to look. So none of that's a big surprise. The big surprise now is the story, and that's what's going to really sell us on this game, realistically. Like, many people that are buying this game aren't buying it because, oh, the combat looks great. Oh, everything looks so phenomenal and fantastic. Like, it looks good. But, like, what's really hooking them right now, I believe, is the story. And if that falls flat, if the writing is, like, really sloppy and predictable, and it's kind of like that Nightwing and Barbara Gordon scene, I'm just not going to feel it, you know? And there's multiple, like, scenes like that. Multiple cutscenes where the motion capture people are, of course, doing their dialogue, but it just feels so weird and so stiff. I don't know. I'm fairly concerned with how the story will be presented, but I'm excited to play through it, and I really hope they do a solid job with the writing. So, tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I know that there are many things that I talked about in this video, but I want to know your thoughts about the Batman being playable. I think that would be really fun. And also, what are your concerns about the game? It could be story, it could be gameplay, whatever you think is a big concern for you. Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more videos in the future, and I will see you guys in my next one. Peace out.